So, how do you create a compelling brand? Well, you might be starting out from scratch. You might actually be owning your own business, starting up in the very early phases. You might be deciding what your brand should be. Or you might be in a business that already has what I'd call a master brand, and you might be devising a sub brand or a product that needs a compelling name. Rise Academy is a brand on its own right, but it's within our overall company and organization of Brave, Bold, Brilliant. All right. So this also applies if you are creating a sub brand, but just being aware of what goes through this, even if you're not a marketeer, is really important. So the first thing is you have to do is define your purpose. And we've talked about this a lot, haven't we? And this links directly to the module we did on strategy, understanding your why. That also applies to you personally, doesn't it? Understanding your why, what's your motivation? So define your purpose. Then you've got to understand your audience. Who are you targeting? Who's your ideal client? Who's your ideal customer? And we've got a section on customer coming shortly. Clarify your positioning. What's your positioning in the market? Identify within that, what makes you unique? How are you standing out? What differentiates you? Then you've got to craft the identity. And that, of course, incorporates the name, the logo, the tone of voice, look and feel, your color palette, the assets that bring the brand to life. And then we've got to tell a consistent story. We want to take our customers on a journey with us where they buy into the story. Then, of course, we need to embed internally the brand. We need to have our people fully excited about it, fully aligned. And then, obviously, once you have launched a brand to market, it's around evolving continuously. Remember, Kodak and Blockbuster, how they didn't evolve and actually ended up disappearing completely. Okay, so that's how you create a compelling brand. And as I say, you might be in a position where you're excited about creating a new brand. You might be in a very mature business that has a clear brand, a very strong brand. You might be working for Apple or for Google, but it still allows you to understand the value of the brand, the impact it makes, how it needs to continue to shape and evolve. So, regardless of the type of business you're in, your role in being involved in brand, this is absolutely relevant for every single one of you, regardless of what your situation is. So, how do you create a compelling brand? Well, we're going to define your value proposition, first of all. So, what is different about your brand versus competitors? Experience, taste, quality, personality, functionality, could be the price, anything else that kind of, is ownable. What's different about you? Because if you're in that Me Too space, very often all you're going to be doing is competing on price. And that is quite often a downward spiral because only one person can be the cheapest, right? And it can be a downward curve. But if you stand out for something different and unique, it allows you to one, offer something compelling to your customers that they can't get from anywhere else, or it's more difficult to get from anywhere else. But also commercially, you're able to, there's a value to that. There's a scarcity about it, which allows you to charge a higher price or more compelling price that delivers the numbers. What's the impact that your brand wants to have on the world? Think big. Remember Arnie? Think big, have a big vision. And that might be a cause that you must all believe in, right? Something that's really compelling. What would you write on the launch banner of your new brand? It must be compelling. Why should customer or clients pick you? Imagine you're on a march and you've got your banner, or you're at Glastonbury and you've got a flag in the crowd. What's it going to say on it about your brand? How do you stand out? And of course, your brand proposition, it includes the for. This is for a certain person. It might be that you're the only brand that offers, and because what are the reasons because of that? So value proposition, it clearly communicates the product or service that you're offering and the benefit that it's going to bring to your customers.